Hello, my name is Adrienne Markopoulos, and I have been fortunate enough to be a psychotherapist specializing in sex and couples therapy for 20 years. I'd like to share a few things with you today that I've learned along the journey, not only as a psychotherapist, but also as someone who's used various platforms when I've been single for dating. So I think that online dating is here to stay. Um, it's kind of funny. Back in the day when computers became this big thing, I really thought that they were temporary and it was going to be like VHS tapes. They'd be here today and gone tomorrow. But obviously, I was wrong about that. But I can guarantee you, I won't be wrong about the pointers I share with you today. So, in terms of creating your online profile, I want you to think of it as your first impression, your first opportunity to catch the other person's eye. Unfortunately, I would love to say that looks don't matter, but 9 times out of 10, it's something about the way you look, the way you smile, or something in your photograph that gets the other person's attention and makes them curious enough to read your profile. So, I want to talk about that famous, those wonderful pictures that you'll be uploading to whatever dating site that you choose. Let me also say that the dating site that you choose needs to be consistent with what it is that you're open to, whether that's dating, long term relationship, or you're part of the hookup culture. No judgment, just giving you information. Okay, so again, in terms of the opportunity, the photo that you pick, ideally you will pick between 1 and 3 photos. Now, I've seen some photos that looked like they were X-rated, and that's not necessarily what we're going for. If we are interested in meeting someone, getting to know them, and potentially having a committed relationship. So I would suggest that any photo that you choose has a clear option for the individual to be able to see your face. Um, because remember, they're not going to be able to hear your voice. They'll be able to read your words. So once you have those 3 photos, again, 1 that has a clear image of your face, 2, perhaps an activity that you enjoy doing, and 3, I would suggest a full body shot. Now remember, the photos that you choose need to be photos that are going to be consistent with what you're looking for. I don't think I have to spell that out for you any further. If I do, then you just reach out and you let me know. Okay, so we talked about the pic. The other thing that's really important is that your profile is upbeat and it's happy-go-lucky, it's funny. Some of the profiles that I've seen from people sometimes come across as very angry and frustrated and jaded. And I've seen things like, if you're this type of person, don't need apply, or if you're this kind of person, don't send me a message. But that's not the tone that we're going for. We're going for a tone that says you're open to dating, open to potentially having a relationship, getting to know someone better, or even having a friendship. But again, tone is really important. So I think in general, some of the things that you probably want to avoid, particularly for women, because we have to always be thinking about our safety, especially in this digital age. You don't want to share any specifics about where you live beyond your city and state. You don't want someone to be able to find you or to find your other social media platforms if it's someone that you're not interested in or someone who may not have the best of intentions. The other thing that I need you to be general when you're sharing is about your profession. So, for example, like I've mentioned, I am a psychotherapist. I specialize in sex and couples therapy. When I used to have a profile, I would just say in the medical profession, because less is more. Remember, whoever's seeing your video or seeing your face and potentially having interactions with you to have a conversation is still someone you don't know. So you want to be cautious, very, very cautious. The other thing that I would advise you not to include in your profile, in your summary, in your pictures, or your discussion early on is who you live with. Now, you may be wondering, why would that be a big deal? It's a big deal because single women can be targeted. And if you have too much information out there in the deep wide web or dark web or whatever they're calling it today, then that's going to make you unsafe. And the goal is to meet people, but to make sure you remain safe. Something else I wanted to also add. Remember, when you are on this site, almost everything that you include in your profile description of yourself will say a lot about who you are. So you need to be honest. So, for example, don't say that you're a world traveler if you've never left the country and you've lived within 20 miles of the same city for your entire life. No judgment. I'm just saying that in the future, if this person, whoever you meet, and I'm sure that you will meet more than one person, probably several people. As a matter of fact, I suggest going out with several people, because what's happening in that exchange, once you start the texting, once you start a dialogue, and if you decide to meet up, that may come up. And so you don't want to say that you love fishing if you can't stand the smell of fish. So be as genuine as you can without revealing too much about yourself. Remember, in this situation, less is more. Okay, I also wanted to advise you to, I think there's a question or two on most of the profiles that said something like, what are you looking for? Casual dating, marriage, da 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 da. Again, you want to avoid the extremes. You don't want to say that nothing serious. You're not looking for anything serious, or it's a casual hookup type of thing. You don't want to go that route because you're going to attract the type of person who is looking for that, unless you yourself are looking for that. But if that's the case, then you probably would be better served on one of the apps that's known for hookups. I am talking to the people who are genuinely interested in trying to get to know another person to see where it goes. So again, the one extreme was you want to avoid nothing serious, no commitment, hookup kind of culture. And on the opposite end, you want to avoid a serious relationship looking for marriage. Why? That screams desperation. And what you will find, or maybe you won't, is some of the gentlemen that are out there that will read your profile will be turned off by the fact that you're looking to get married, particularly if they have just gotten out of a committed relationship in the last 6 months to a year. They may not be ready to consider a serious relationship, but I tell you what, if they meet the right person, they will. They absolutely will. They will want to make sure they take you off of the market. So remember, this is your first opportunity to have some kind of exchange. The first thing they're going to notice is your photos. So make sure they're tasteful, they're sending the message that you want to send, and make sure you'd be comfortable enough with a family member seeing it, or someone that you work with, or an employer. That's a good rule of thumb. You don't have to advertise all that you have to be able to get what you want. Again, my name is Adrienne Markopoulos, and thank you very much for checking out this video. There will be others to come on dates 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.